Greetings, salutations. What's good? You're tuned in to Talking That Talk. This is where I intend to peel back the pretty lies. I intend to kill the cliches. And I intend to talk about relationships. Talk about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Super Dad Jason Ortiz. And this is not your therapist podcast. I'm going to go deep, I'm going to get bold, and we're going to keep it honest. So let's just go in. Today's episode is titled, Love is Not Enough. And here's why. We're going to start with this unpopular opinion that, we've heard probably most our lives. But avoided the topic because we tend to have been drilled to believe that love was enough. But if love was enough, divorce rates wouldn't exist. And I know you heard it a million times. All you need is love. I think it was the Beatles even have a whole song, literally titled word for word, All You Need Is Love. But that's the kind of advice that sounds good on t-shirts and memes. And it's terrible in real life. If love was enough, we wouldn't have so many people cheating, divorcing, or stuck in these horrific, miserable situations. Love is just the emotion. Love is like the gas in your car, right? But if the wheels are falling off, the engine's leaking, and if you don't even know how to drive, does it matter that the car is filled with gas? Because your car is not going anywhere on gas alone. So what are those other areas? What about communication, shared values, emotional maturity, conflict resolution? Without those, love becomes a cage instead of a connection. You can love someone and still not be compatible. You can still be toxic together, and you can still be a poor fit for their season. Love is the spark, not the structure. When having grown talk, we must identify the real pillars of a lasting relationship. Now let's walk intellectual for a minute. You know what love really needs to survive? Emotional intelligence. Can you self-regulate, empathize, or communicate when things get hard? It needs shared values. Are you both trying to build the same type of life, or are you dragging each other in opposite directions? Respect and security. Do you feel safe being vulnerable with your partner? And conflict resolution. How do you argue? Do you solve problems or just bury them? Do you just yell? Chemistry without character is chaos. Passion without purpose burns out fast. Real relationships require real tools. That's grown talk. If this scenario, if this situation was relationship court, right? And the case was titled, I love him, her, but he or she won't commit. And if I had to play judge for a second, my ruling would be simple. He's not confused. He's comfortable. A lot of y'all stay because of love, but if love is only flowing one way, it becomes emotional debt. You're paying interest on a heart that isn't even fully yours. Love doesn't mean settle. It doesn't mean wait forever. If you're building a life with someone who's deciding if they want to show up for it, you're not in love. You're in limbo. So what will be my verdict? Time served. Go free yourself. Time to maturely walk yourself out of a situation. Now, we all have these moments of the week where we may just scroll social media, and I did that. And I think what I saw was someone's pillow talk confession. I peeped it on the socials, right? And so I'm going to read this anonymous confession, I guess, I got from someone's socials. No one I follow, no one I know, just scrolling. And someone said I stayed in a toxic relationship for years because I loved him. Even when he lied, even when he cheated, even when he made me feel like nothing. I kept thinking love would fix it. I knew he loved me, so I thought love would fix it. That eventually he'd change. I was addicted to the history we had, not the reality we were in. Whew. First off, the realization in itself is, whoa. That's powerful. That's real. Love should be a home, not a war zone. But so many have not come to the conclusion that love isn't enough. If loving someone requires you to abandon yourself, that's not love. That's emotional sacrifice dressed up in loyalty. So hopefully, some of these things is a wake-up call for someone listening right now. If your love hurts more than it heals, it's time to redefine what love is. Now let's let me try to come up with an example about the emotionally unavailable partner, right? Let's say we have James and Maria. They've been together for 8 months. He's smooth, charming, he says the right things, he shows up just enough to keep Maria holding on, but he avoids deep emotional conversation. He shuts down or gets defensive when Maria expresses her needs. He calls her too emotional when she tries to open up. He says he's not ready for a title, but wants relationship benefits. Not in those words, but that's what he's telling you. He keeps one foot in, one foot out, but never lets her fully in. Maria feels stuck. She questions her worth, thinking maybe she's asking for too much. But deep down she knows she's loving someone who only shows up halfway. What's really going on? James isn't emotionally available. He may care for Maria, but his fear of vulnerability, his past trauma, or immaturity makes him resist intimacy that requires emotional effort. It's easy to have intimacy that doesn't require emotional effort. So how do you rectify that relationship if it's even worth saving? You have to call the emotional disconnect out, clearly, not emotionally. Don't beg, don't scream. Just state it plainly. Don't be accusatory. Don't try to stick daggers in someone's heart. Just let them know that you're showing up for this emotionally and you feel like they're not. And in order for you both to move forward in a healthy manner, that has to change. This sets a boundary without guilt. You have to ask better questions to break patterns. Instead of, why won't you open up? Ask, why does being emotionally vulnerable feel? What does being emotionally vulnerable feel like for you? Now, this invites honesty. It doesn't invite being defensive. You have to stop overcompensating for someone else's avoidance. If you're always initiating talks, apologizing first, or making excuses for someone's behavior, you're training them to stay emotionally lazy. Pull back. Not to play games, because people pull back and they do this, I'm matching energy and I'm doing this, and they're playing games. You're not playing games. You pull back to regain balance and then give clear ultimatums. And then when you give clear ultimatums, you have to stick to it. This can't be something that makes it good for 3 days, 7 hours, 11 minutes, 49 seconds. You have to stick to it. This relationship needs emotional effort, not just good vibes and late night cuddles. If that's not something you're ready for, you have to say this. If this is not something you're ready for, I won't keep investing in something one-sided. And you have to mean it. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. And in many instances, if this is a situation that you intend to be long-term, suggest therapy or some real self-work. If he's open to growth but doesn't know how, because sometimes people are open to growth but they don't know how. They've been brainwashed to believe that in these gender roles are so set in stone that they've misinterpreted what these gender roles are supposed to be, and they're so set in stone that they don't know how to crack that case that they're stuck in. You can suggest individual therapy or books, podcasts about emotional intelligence. Right? It's not about fixing. It's about growing better emotionally together. Right? But when is it time to walk away? If he dismisses your needs, makes you feel crazy for wanting connection, or plays the victim every time you express hurt, that means he's not unavailable by accident. His unavailability is now a choice. You can't heal someone who benefits from staying broken. I want to say that again. You can't heal someone who benefits from staying broken. Look, y'all, love is a beautiful thing. Unequivocally, love is one of the greatest things ever, but it is not the only thing. Don't let the fairy tales fool you into staying in situations when you're surviving, not thriving. That's all for today's episode of Talking That Talk. If you vibed with this, share with somebody who needs to hear the truth. But until next time, real talk, love hard, but don't settle for less than what feeds your soul. Peace.